I'm chuffed to bits. Yeah, it doesn't work without the British accent. Hey guys, Paul Ronto here from RunRepeat, and today we're here to check out Inov-8's Terraultra G270. This is their lightweight, low stack, zero drop trail running shoe. It's really designed for ultra distances or long distance trail running. I'm really excited to get this shoe in because in 2019, my #1 trail shoe was the G260. They look very similar, but there's some great updates to the G270, so let's talk about them. First off, let's talk about what they've updated. Well, Inov-8 has updated the upper, they've updated the midsole, they've updated the outsole, they've updated the insole, the lacing system. It's really a redesigned shoe. So let's get into the specifics and talk about each one in detail. First off, the upper. They've redesigned the upper called Adapter Fit. It's got this soft rubberish overlay on it. It's a little more flexible than the upper on the G260, which is fantastic. Since in those really long efforts, your feet like to swell a little bit, this shoe actually is flexible enough to kind of go with that swelling throughout your effort, whereas the G260 really was a little bit stiffer. It looks very similar, so it's easy to overlook, but they have completely redesigned this upper. One of the other things about this upper that I think is great is it is somehow a little bit more breathable, although it looks very similar to the G260. Obviously passes the light test very well. There's tons of venting in this mesh upper. I really like that. Another thing they added was a rubber toe bumper, as well as a rubber overlay around the midsole. Gives it a little more weather resistance when you're running through mud or puddles that the G260 just didn't have. Have you run an ultra? If you have, how did you train for your first ultra? What was that like? What was the experience of running your first ultra like? Since this was an ultra shoe, I'd love to hear from you ultra runners out there. Next, let's talk about the tongue. The G260 had some padding in the tongue. G270, no padding at all. I like this. I'm not a big fan of a padded tongue, but it is kind of the consistency of like a car seatbelt. It's thick, it's kind of heavy duty, it sits on your foot nicely, and it's fully gusseted. I love this, fully gusseted tongue. Fantastic. Okay, the next part is the lacing system. Simple update, flat laces. I could have changed the laces on the G260s, but it's nice that Inov-8 thought of this. Thanks for switching those laces out for me. Next is the heel counter. Another thing I like, it's stiff, but not super stiff. I had no problems with heel lock on the 260, 270 is the same. My foot hasn't slipped. They did lose my little thumb loop or my little grab loop back here. I guess sometimes these brands like to think it's not needed. It's okay that it's missing, I guess, if that's the only thing on the heel that they've changed. Okay, next let's talk about the midsole. This is a great update, this shoe. They went to a PowerFlow Max midsole. They added 3 millimeters of stack, so it went from 9 to 12. It's a little more responsive, it's a little more bouncy, it's a little more cushioned. The G260, my one gripe with it was I did have a lot of ground feel. My feet tended to get knackered. I guess the British sound better saying that word too. But my feet tended to get tired after 12 to 15 miles. This is supposed to be an ultra distance shoe. And for me, the G260 didn't do it. This upgraded midsole, fantastic. I really think this shoe can go the distance. Obviously it has too. Damian Hall, FKT, 268 miles. And so this shoe is proven that it can go the distance. Inov-8 says the new midsole should be about 20% more energy efficient as well. I didn't necessarily feel that difference between this and the G260, but the 260's got 300 plus miles on it at this point. So I do think it does feel springier and a little more bouncy, like I mentioned. Inov-8 also claims that it's more durable. The midsole material shouldn't pack out as quickly. They claim it should get twice the longevity. I think that's a bold claim. So far, I've only got about 15 miles on this shoe, but there's no signs of any compression at all yet. Overall, great upgrade. Lastly, let's talk about a little bit about the flex. Obviously, this is a super flexible shoe. It's not as flexible. There's obviously a little more sturdiness and responsiveness underfoot. It's not as flexible as, again, the 260, but I think that's a good upgrade. I think that it gained a little more responsiveness, a little more padding. I think Inov-8's done a good job here. Last thing to talk about is Inov-8 updated the insole. So you don't pay a lot of attention to insoles these days. A lot of people swap them out with their custom insoles, but they added something called the boomerang insole. It's supposed to add 40% more energy return. It's made out of these little balls of foam instead of a flat layer of foam. To me, it felt great underfoot. I don't think I'll switch it out. I'll keep running in the stock insole, but it's something to mention that they did think about the insole. It's a nice detail for sure. One thing I like that they didn't do is completely remove the ground feel from this shoe. It's not a minimalist shoe, but it's by far not a maximalist shoe, 12 millimeter stack. I can still feel the ground a bit, I really like that about this shoe. I come from a minimalist background. I used to wear MT10s and MT110s. That's crazy to me these days to even think that those are the shoes I ran in, but I do like that I can still feel some of that ground through this midsole. Okay, let's talk about the outsole. Graphene. This is the big innovation that Inov-8 is adding to their shoes. They are claiming is the world's toughest grip. Tough grip. I mean, grip is either grippy and sticky, or rubber can be tough and durable, but grip usually isn't tough. I don't really care what it means though, because it works. This is a huge update from the G260. The G260 had the graphene, but I felt it wasn't that grippy. It slipped once it got dusty. I live in Colorado, lots of dusty trails. I don't know if they've changed the compound. They've changed the lug design a tiny bit. They've added these little micro bumps, but man, it is grippy. The technology works. It's awesome. Somehow they claim that this is like a Nobel winning compound. I don't really know, but I do think that the outsole works. It's fantastic. They've also added some more flex grooves or drain grooves if you're running in wet conditions. Not a lot of wet conditions here in Colorado, plenty of wet conditions in England, so I think they needed that. Feels very durable. I have no fears that I'm gonna get all the miles that they're claiming out of this as the world's most durable material. First off, the upper. It felt right when I put the shoe on for the first time, it was a little tight in the midfoot. Something was bugging me right here where the tongue is sewn into the upper. I noticed it, I noted it. After 3 or 4 miles, it was gone. My second and third run in this shoe, I don't feel it anymore. It's broken in nicely. It's flexing to my foot. So small gripe, but it is something I noticed right out of the box. One of the only other gripes, I mentioned it, no heel loop. Tiny, tiny little gripe. I might be the only person in the world that likes a heel loop. I'm not sure. Lastly, is all the hype. World's tough as this, world's great as that, Nobel Peace Prize winning compound, the only company in the world to be using this technology. It's a gripe on the hype. I don't care though. It works, it's awesome, it's fantastic. It grips like crazy. Hype it up, Inov-8, go for it. We just went through a ton of facts and stats on this shoe, but we've got tons more on RunRepeat.com. Go to RunRepeat, check out the Terraultra G270. There's all sorts of information there that I'm not putting in this video. There's other reviews from other users. There's price comparisons. We link to retailers so you can get the best price possible. Go check it out, compare it to other shoes in this category. First off, this shoe fits well for me. I have a slightly wider foot. It was tight out of the box, but it broke in nicely on the first run, 2-3 miles. Inov-8 doesn't do widths traditionally. They have what they call a fit scale. It's 1 to 5. This is a 5, so this is their widest platform. Most Inov-8s are a little bit too narrow for me, but the Terraultra, being in that 5 category, honestly works wonderful for me. I had no slip on this shoe. The lacing system works wonderful. The heel cup kept my heel where it needed to be. Even coming down steep, rocky terrain, my foot didn't move around much. Honestly, the fit's fantastic. I think this will work for most people. Let's talk about comfort. Super flexible, low stack, 0 drop. I mean, it sounds like I'm explaining a minimalist shoe here, but it works. It's comfortable. I don't know how Inov-8 did it, but they made this shoe comfortable. They made it perform in an ultralight version. I think that this shoe really has a nice niche. Weight, 9.5 ounces for a trail shoe like this. Fantastic. I mean, it's got deep 4mm lugs. It's got graphene, really durable rubber. There's some good tech in here, and they were able to come in under 10 ounces. Anything under 10 ounces in the trail realm, to me, fantastic. 9.5, awesome. Great job, Inov-8. 0 drop, 12mm front and rear stack. Inov-8 has been known for their 0 drop shoes. They're keeping that alive with this, and they've done a really good job at it. If you're not used to a 0 drop shoe, this one might eat up your Achilles, it might eat up your calves. I've been running minimalist and 0 drop shoes for a long time, so it feels great to me. I think that this one's an easy one to transition into if you want to try 0 drop, because it does have that nice midsole. All right, let's talk about durability. Inov-8's supposedly known for their super durable shoes. Graphene's supposed to be the toughest whatever in the world. You know, I haven't had that experience with my past Inov-8s. My G260s, the welded overlays started to delam on my first run. They didn't delam to the point where there was an issue. I actually never thought about it again after that first run, but they did have some minor issues. This one so far is holding up great. I don't see any issues. It looks brand new still. I think this shoe is gonna go the distance. Obviously it's been proven. It can go 268 miles in one outing. Yeah, I'm impressed with the durability. I think that this shoe is gonna hold up for the long run. To be honest, even if it falls apart, I'm gonna wear it until it falls off my foot. Inov-8, you got something here. Looks. Some of you may not like this, but I love it. It's bright, it's green, it's black, it doesn't have 10 colors. Although it's loud, it doesn't say speed or 26.2 or whatever people are writing on shoes these days. I love how it looks. I like the lime green. It obviously comes in other colorways, but I like that they didn't complicate this with multiple colors. It's green, it's black, it does the trick. People notice you when you're running in it. If that's something you like, go with it. The last version mellowed out a little bit. You can tell this new version is a little brighter green. I kind of hope that this one mellows out a little bit too, but if not, I dig how it looks. Okay, lastly, price. $160 retail. It's a little hefty in my book in this category. You know, zero drop, trail running shoe. You look at the Lone Peak 4.5, that's like $120. But I think there's value in here. You know, you gotta pay for the graphene, you gotta pay for Nobel Prizes. Ultimately though, I think if you're willing to spend a little bit more, you're gonna get a good, durable shoe that has good tech. It's gonna surprise you. I think it'll go the distance and last a long time. So it might be worth that $160 price point, but I agree. It feels like it's on the high side. It's a better version of a shoe that I thought was a good shoe. I think that they've updated some of the minor flaws. It's a great trail running shoe. This shoe is gonna be going to altitude with me. You could go on trail, off trail. This is a peak runner. This is an ultra runner. I think you should give it a shot if you're looking for a lightweight trail runner that's zero drop, a little bit wider in the forefoot, something maybe you haven't tried before if you haven't gone with an Inov-8 in the past. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button below. Also hit the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on future reviews. If you like this review or you like this shoe, leave a note in the comments for us. We'd love to hear what you thought of it. And the question of the day, I know I've already asked one, but I'm gonna ask a second question. What would make you run an ultra race? What would push you or motivate you to go longer than 26.2? All right, everyone, thanks again. We're out of here. Go, do, be, run, and repeat.